Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the new album Will of the People from the UK rock band Muse. It was released on August 26th, 2022, but I delayed this review for seasonal purposes, I suppose. It's October now, and I got my orange on and all that. I discovered Muse when they had a song in this game. It was Western-ish, cowboy, robot, some kind of shit, I don't freaking know, sci-fi. And I discovered other music because of that, like singles and stuff. Those were also amazing. I do believe this band is set to a higher standard by their fans than usual. I'm not sure why. So their new releases tend to be disappointing to like half the fan base. But this is probably my first actual full-length album that I've listened to from Muse. I've just heard stints and stuff, like watching like Brad Taste in Music, who y'all probably already know of if you're watching this review. But track 1 is Will of the People. Despite the album having a variety of sound, this title track is a fitting preamble to it, in my opinion. It copies a rebellious style similar to that of Green Day and, I guess, the Beatles, but has lyrical phrasing like that song by Marilyn Manson, if you know what I mean. The vocals are okay, aside from voice cracks. That's just an aspect of Matt Bellamy, the guy that sings this band, that is very strange, but he does it a lot. What really pulls me into it is their classic synthesizer and how the EDM beat just swoops in as the bridge comes through.
So long as we stay free, welcome to the desecration, baby. We'll build you right up and we'll tear you down.
That was the title track. Compliance is the second song on this album, and it follows it up with a complete opposite perspective. An interesting contrast is the way on this song the vocals aren't distorted. Rather, the production is clear, the organ is just beautiful, and it even sounds deceptive. But that is the intent of the song. Unfortunately, the execution of the lyrical idea is poor and corny.
Just reach out and touch, we can save you. We just need your compliance. We just need your compliance.
Track 3 is Liberation. What if Racing called? He wants his queen back. This is a total ripoff, and a good one at that, with what Muse is going for. They just took the sound from A Night at the Opera and added a shitload of kick. Meanwhile, Queen never made a hit from writing rebellious propaganda. If anything, they were just vague and gave motivation to absolutely everybody possible. The carry-out here is spot on, but there's no twist or Muse signature. It's just a Queen song in the middle of a rock/metal album. And the only reason it fits is because nothing on this album fits, and that's like the theme of the sound here.
Our backs against the wall, no more, and we have plans to take you down.
The fourth song on this album, Won't Stand Down, was used as commercial transition music on Fox NASCAR broadcasts at the beginning of the year. So if you don't actually listen to Muse, you at least know it because of that. Like most of the people on this channel, they watch the NASCAR stuff. But I have mild disdain for the verses. They are mostly sung like crap. And I'm starting to think that's a Muse thing, because it's going to continue to be a problem throughout the rest of this album. It was the lead single and is a well-produced metal track, though. The build-up to the pre-chorus is fantastic, despite a somewhat weak payoff. The electronics kind of swallow things up and then just spit them out, and it has a pretty good ending.
Won't stand down, I'm stronger.
Track 5 is Ghosts. How Can I Move On? Probably the most boring filler track on here. It lacks substance for maybe 2/3 of the runtime. You could make the argument that it isn't soulless and gets powerful at the end. It just repeats the same mezzo piano butterfly pattern, and then all that changes is the register and the volume to mezzo forte, whoop-de-frickin'-do. It sucks because it's a sad song, but like, fuck dude, you suck at being sad. Be better at being sad, Matt.
How can I move on when everyone I see still talks about you? How can I move on?
The sixth song, You Make Me Feel Like It's Halloween, is like a cover of a Tim Burton song that doesn't actually exist. It passes the vibe check and has the right kind of melody, although I don't know what the fuck it's doing here on the album. There's some odd compression burying the crappy vocals at some points, but eventually it does come around to a really good ending. On track 7, Kill or Be Killed, I think some of the vocals are more iffy for me than on Won't Stand Down, of course the lead single, but as a fan of nu metal, it hits the nail on the head, sounding something like Drowning Pool. The solo is wicked gorgeous as everything comes crashing into the final chorus, and it's one of only a few songs on this album that weaves in some sci-fi ambience and robot-like effects to kind of match the theme. Track 8 is Verona. The pacing of this album is so whack, man. I find this song very romantic. It's one of my favorites of the year, actually. It progresses from one element to the other and gives the vibes of Bruno Mars or One Republic, like in my younger days. I just love the reverb, and when that guitar comes in, and the percussion drop about halfway is solid.
I wanna let you feel love, because I need you so.
Euphoria is the 9th track on this album, and this is just Mr. Brightside in the style of Muse. Jokes aside, though, it's definitely more of a drained, working-class anthem for me. It's well done, but at the same time, that whammy bar shit sounds awful here. They kind of overdid it. All that electronic stuff underneath sounds awesome, and the drum lead-ins do kick ass. The 10th and final song on this album is called We Are Fucking Fucked. The verses are boring and empty. The chorus sounds retarded, and the same can be said about the lyrical effort. There is a brutal assload of distortion on the chords. I don't know why. I like the bridge, but it's somewhat of a Blondie copycat, and I only know one song by Blondie, and it's that song, the one that we all know. I get not taking themselves seriously, but like, after making an album that was relatively serious, while also straying from the subject constantly with its variety and sound, I feel like this just misses the entire mark. Like it's trying to be a meme ending to an album that was already a mess. But I wouldn't say it's bad, though. My final score for Will of the People by Muse, released on August 26th, 2022, is a 79%, which is a C. I mean, just a solid C. It's like there's like really good songs, and then some songs are, even though they're really good, they don't fit in. And then a few cases where I'm kind of bored, or it just doesn't mix very well, and they do their Muse synthesizer thing, and then they go too ham on it with the whammy bar, and yeah, you already heard what I had to say. But so it's not mediocre, it's just all over the place. It's so very hit or miss. It's the most hit or miss album I've ever reviewed. See you next time, that's that, and album review over.